What's up, squad? It's Brandon from the Bantu Sun. Thank you so much for joining me today. So I'm going through my daily article reads, and I come across the story of South American countries, particularly Mercosur, but South American countries looking to mediate the disagreement between Venezuela and Guyana. Now, this disagreement is based in an understanding that the Essequibo region, making up 50% to 2/3 of Guyana, has pretty much been on the mind of the Venezuelan leadership. Venezuela's president, Maduro, had displayed a map in which he presents an annexation of this oil and resource rich region of Guyana. Now, Venezuela is roughly about 30 million people, and Guyana is a far smaller country with a population of less than a million people. And on top of that, this region is people poor, sparsely populated, but resource rich. And these resources in this region have been one of the primary contributing factors since the Exxon oil discovery in 2015, has been one of the primary contributing factors to Guyana becoming one of the wealthiest countries in the Western Hemisphere. For those that follow our videos, about 5-6 months ago, we created a video called Guyana is Booming, where we talk about this newfound wealth of Guyana and the opportunity that it gave Guyana, or the curse it would give Guyana. I suggest you strongly go watch that video. One of the main prefaces of the video, or one of the main points I wanted to touch on was, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Guyana has been blessed with these oil resources, but it should be a cherry on top if they were already practicing good governance and the development of its people. So it should come as no surprise that when you have Guyana, which has recently come into this oil wealth, Anglophone country, by the way, next to Venezuela, one of the most dysfunctional states in the world, despite having one of the largest oil reserves in the world. But because it is this communist socialist government, and Venezuela is no exception, when you find communism and socialism to an extreme degree in any part of the world, you'll find this level of dysfunction and corruption. It is only a matter of time before the starving Venezuelans start to look at this newfound wealth in this relatively small country of Guyana, and Guyana starts to look like lunch to Venezuela. And that's exactly what has happened, with President Maduro expressing desires to annex a significant portion of Guyana. And it's no coincidence that this is the resource oil-rich region of the country. You really can't blame anyone outside of Guyana, because their defense is most important to them. No other country is thinking about how do we protect Guyana. This is the onus of the Guyanese leadership. It was only a matter of time before you can be next to one of the most poor or violent countries in the world based off homicide statistics, that is Venezuela, before their eyes start to wander across the border and think about the what could be's based off of Guyana's resources. When Guyana discovered this oil, they should have made sure that sovereign wealth fund was in order, and one of the first calls they should have made was to the U.S. to get down there to build up alliances and defense infrastructure. I constantly talk about Lee Kuan Yew, the leader of Singapore, which took it third world to first. One of the first things Lee Kuan Yew did, even before he got his economy right, was invest in his defense infrastructure. Even then, he said, look, we don't have a lot here in Singapore, but we're going to make sure if Malaysia does anything, we're going to hurt them. We may not be able to resist them because of our diminutive size and our poor resources, but we're going to make sure they earn what they get if they come down here looking for trouble. Did Guyana do this? Did Guyana invest in alliances and defense infrastructure when its wealth was discovered? Or did it sit there and just take the windfalls as if things are sweet out here? People, this is not a game, gang. This is how the world operates. We talk about this day in, day out. Guyana's defense relies on Guyana. They didn't invest in these relationships. So when things do happen, when you have an aggressive Venezuela on the border, there's nothing to make Venezuela think. It's more easy if you leave us alone than if you mess with us. And now it's starting to look as though Guyana's fortune is left up to luck. So it's 50-50 at this point. And now the people that are looking to mediate, and it's no mediation. This is an act of aggression. There's no mediation. But people that said they're looking to mediate, primarily President Lula in Brazil, on the basis of Mercosur, a South American trade bloc, a dysfunctional South American trade bloc. It's not that many countries that Mercosur benefits or develop. I don't even think Venezuela, last time I heard, I think Venezuela was suspended, but I know Venezuela and Guyana are not even full members of the Mercosur trade bloc. So how is Mercosur mediated anything? Why would Guyana want Mercosur to mediate anything? This is their sovereign land and their wealth. So I express frustration out here because this stuff is ABC 1, 2, 3. There's nothing complicated about this stuff. If you discover wealth, if you become into some type of windfall, and you're surrounded by deficient entities, how long do you think you can go without looking like lunch to them? And that's exactly what happened. If it wasn't Venezuela, it'd probably be somebody else. The point of the matter is Guyana is a relatively underdeveloped, up until its major oil discovery, some would consider it a tropical backwater, but it's an underdeveloped Caribbean holdover, a former, I would almost go so far as to say a tropical slave colony in the Caribbean, and not one of the wealthy ones either. And this oil really put it in a position to make some major plays and be major influencers in the world. And now they've put themselves in a position to be subject to the whims of a communist dictator next door. Even if he's democratically elected. Like, I don't want to get lost in the semantics of it all. But the point of the matter is, can Guyana protect its wealth for its people? Has it invested in the relationships that can do so? Has it invested in a technology that can do so? Has it invested in defense industries that can do so? I've not seen this myself. So, like you, I'm sitting on the sidelines waiting for this thing to resolve, and we can only hope and wish the best for the people of Guyana. But what I hope for, above all, is that they and the people around them that find themselves in a similar position can learn something from this situation. Venezuela aims, this is not antithetical to history. It doesn't repeat itself, history rhymes. We saw this coming. So prayers for Guyana, all the best with their wealth and the future of their people, but this isn't looking good. Because even if it's mediated, it may start to slice out parts of territory Guyana to Venezuela to appease them in the short term. And then how long do you think Venezuela is going to wait until they chew up through that wealth, and then they're going to want a bigger chunk of the pie? So let me know your thoughts. Comment below. Like, share, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Until next time, take care. Bantu up.